Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Murphy, publisher of the National Black Unity News. We come today because we are doing a series of podcasts that we are highlighting our editors. And we have with us today one of our editors, Seanna D. Jackson. And she had just joined us. And this young lady, far as I'm concerned, is a woman after my own heart because she chose a particular field that I'm kind of fond of, and that's publishing newspapers. And I don't know, some people are saying that newspapers are obsolete, but I beg to differ with you because newspaper is where our source come from. Still up until this day and time, with all this technology and everything else, when you hear the news, CNN and all the rest of them, they rely on the Washington Post, the New York Times, and all of those type of. That's where they get their source from. So we are not only are we extremely relevant, we just use the other sources to get it out to you. That's what the TVs and everything else comes in. But again, the relevancy of a newspaper is so powerful, and media is a powerful tool. And like myself, I chose media because just that it is a powerful tool. It can help us to get where we want to go. It can help people, whatever your intentions are, because there's all types of publications. Whatever your intentions are, it can only really benefit others. But again, I want to introduce this young lady, and I want her to tell a little bit about herself, and just the biggest question of all, why a newspaper? So here we go, Shauna D. Jackson. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Today, around, from where I'm from, Cleveland, Ohio, and a newspaper is important to me primarily because I always see flyers, and I know the amount of money that businesses spend on a flyer, and I also know the special place that we're in right now, where paper and digital are kind of having their dance right now on who's most important and who has most attention. But I still see people placing orders. I still get requests to do orders for business cards, um, flyers, something to hand somebody to make it tangible. And with that in mind, I have strong opinions about different areas in, you know, just I'm gonna say life in general, real living. Um, I have a few bones to pick with, City Hall, the police departments, environmental issues, my own people. I feel like a way of expressing myself, and I enjoy writing. So what I decided to do was close my doors for website development, or primarily webmaster services, and then streamline my services so that if you need those services, you receive them as a part of the paper. Is distribution, what I have to say, and how I curate my images and photography and I guess digital assets at this point. But what the businesses do is give me something to bounce off of or say important things and kind of weave together a unique reading experience. I feel that if you're going to still pay for a flyer, if you're still going to pay for a business card, it's worth just getting you something in the paper, because my design and what I like, and I feel like my tastes are pretty good. I think I'll have a pretty good, tangible asset that any important person or layman can use.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. And you was thinking about business cards and flyers. When I first started out, of course they didn't have computers during that time. They had computers, but not to the average person. We didn't have home computers. And a lot of businesses did rely on business cards and flyers. Yes, they got them printed, but they had one problem: distribution. They couldn't go out there and just here, take all of these cards. So, and I used to explain to people, I said, you can put one business card in my newspaper, and every time that paper go out, your card is being circulated. And it made sense to them. Matter of fact, it was cost effective too,
Mm-hmm.
because it cost less than the business cards almost to put that business card in my newspaper.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a win. Once sometimes in our industry, we have to educate people about our industry because unfortunately, I'm just say this now. I'm a black man. I deal with black issues, and in my not that I put down any group of race of people, but that's my focus, uplifting us. And the sad part about us was this. We making strides in different areas. We growing up some. I've seen a lot of growth in our people, but we had this old adage about bricks and mortars, getting these buildings, putting all your money into a rehabbing them, and putting up all of this stuff, putting all this fancy stuff in your brick and mortars. And then what they failed to do, after doing all of that, they relied on the friends and family to support them because they didn't put money aside to advertise their business. And unfortunately, a year later, sometimes 2 years later, they're out of business because they felt that key principle of promoting and advertising. Family and friends, they're great, but that's just not going to get it. And so
Yeah.
you need greater exposure. That's why every major corporations out here promote and advertise their business. Now, Seanna, you entering into a rare business. It's not rare. It's a general business, but it's rare to us. I'm talking about black people.
Mhm.
We own less than 1% of the media. I'm talking about all media, newspapers and podcasting, TV, radio. You put them all together in this country, it's less than 1%. And so when I heard when you got in contact with me, we started talking. That's one of the reasons why I was so pleased that you chose this industry. Because we need all the help we can get, all the voices we can get, because pretty much everything we hear and we read is coming from other people. And therefore, it shakes their mind. People don't want to believe it, but the time you get up in the morning, the time you go to bed, you're being bombarded. Your cell phones, computers, billboards, whatever. You're being bombarded with these subliminal messages. And
Right.
therefore, it does shake your mind. That's why when they say this is in, this style of clothing is in, and because they say so, it's in. They say this is out, and it's out. What's good, what's bad, and unfortunately, major media don't look at us too well. I'm just say that, put it that way. But again, Shauna, in your area, I don't know too much about Cleveland, but what is kind of the you said you had some, I don't want to get too deep into that, but it sounds like you bold enough to take on some challenges, some issues in your area. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well,
You ain't
it's
got
a
to get
few
it.
things. There's a few things I think that my area is doing. And for instance, the last year and a half, I participated with something called documenters, where I was paid to observe city meetings, and um, I zoned in on police brutality and watched the meetings from this particular office who was set up to observe the police and take the reports from the people. Well, as I became more and more engaged, I learned that there was a difference in, um, journalism and somebody having something to say. So when I would submit everything, they have to throw away my emotion and everything. You know what I mean? But a lot of times my emotion is what drove home the point. But that's not what we were doing. They just wanted us to report. So something good that came out of that particular thing, where common people were watching, official meetings happening. It was a watchdog experience for them. Somebody's actually watching these people. What came out of that was something called Issue 24 that passed this last election time, where the disciplinary action of the police is now heard by the people. Because what happened is we would watch these cases go in front of, a brotherhood member, and he give his partner slaps on the wrist and suspensions. They still had jobs. It was like, whoa, the equality was so, seesaw. It was just like whatever. But the issue 24 that came out of that was an example of what I'm trying to do, where we can talk about these things all day long, but I'm driving home the action point. So everything that you see in this publication has an action point. Another thing right now I just discovered in Lake Erie, they getting ready to pop up 6 windmills. You know, them energy windmills. Well, they want to break ground on 6 of them in this summer 2022. They've been at it since probably 2014, doing the groundwork and doing the whatever. But I didn't find it on a main media. I found it doing my own research on the environment. And so what I'm saying is, or what the type of things I'm interested in doing, let's say we can get that stopped. Do the people know that it's 6 windmills about to go on the lake and it's gonna mess up our whole view of peaceful sitting out on the lake if you got 6 energy windmills? Do people even care? I care. I sit on my beach almost daily in the summertime. It's a part of my life and part of my children's experience. So I don't want that. And then the people who live there on the lake, I don't know their opinion, but if there was something to be done to stop these people who they say, it's not going to cause us any bodily harm or any harm. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like things are being done under our noses, whether we like it or not. But at least we could do is give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? And give have an outlet so you can communicate directly with me or directly to that organization about what's actually happening. Another example would be sentence reform. Watching prosecutors. We have a few organizations right now that are doing the work, to chisel at the stone, if you will. And I enjoy observing the work that they're doing and then putting my spin on it. Again, if something could be done, would it be? How many more signatures is that? Is that signatures? I'm not marching. That's not part of my generational thing. So this is my way of marching, I guess, or my way of doing it. And it's not all about political. I strongly believe in strong families and strong, better civility among my kind. You know what I'm saying? We're not degenerates, but we do have some ways. And I'm willing to do something about that. And I know where the holes are. I've been on, I don't know, my life has been a genuine experience, book of experiences that I'm willing to share, and I do have a nice angle to deliver that. So I guess the paper is a unique angle, but it's really to empower my generation. I think I said this before in another call. I'm in between worlds, with being early. I'm 42. Well, I also have a 23-year-old. I also have a 6-year-old. My grandmothers are still alive. My grandfathers, some of them have passed, but I'm in a unique place. Some of my best friends are 80, 90. Do you get what I'm saying? Where I think that something new is being brought forth, and it's who gonna represent it.
All right, that's powerful. You said some several powerful things. And I commend you for that. First of all, because a lot of city government, cities, statewide, and everything else are not transparent. They do these things, like you said, they've been practicing for that. It's not just only in Cleveland, Baltimore, and every place else. The same practice system works the way the system does. And when they want something, they already had it planned, a 10-year, 20-year plan already in place. And then once it's about to go up, then they may put a blib in their little circle in the newspaper somewhere, say, we about to do this, we're going to have a meeting over here, but only a few people would ever know about it. And then they say, yes, we had a meeting about it in the community. But but these are the things that they practice on us and on system because they don't want you to know. They don't want your opinion. They made their opinion up and they're going to run with it. And so again, I commend you for standing up and want to be transparent. and that's supposed to be one of our rights. But the system supposed to be ran by us. But unfortunately, a lot of things are not. You know, they already had the things in place. Who's going to do it? Who's going to build it? And everything. But in any case, you mentioned children. You mentioned that you still have your grandparents around. So you at that 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 middle age thing where when I say middle age, I don't know what they call middle age, but I'm talking about chronology. You at that point where
I'm a grandmother myself. I'm also a grandmother myself too.
okay, yeah, but you're not that old and you're not that young. You right in that
Right.
middle state. You could probably got just as many years before you as you had behind
Yeah.
you. You know, so you're at that middle point, and it's a good place to be because you can observe from the elders, but
Right.
you can teach the young. And
Mm.
so, and it's a great place. And plus, like I say, what you entering into is a powerful tool. And but you know, the National Black Unity News truly appreciate you not only for taking that stand, but also supporting the National Black Unity News. We didn't mention it that Seanna is the editor in the National Black Unity News, which is a nationwide black newspaper. And we put out positive information that you may not think is positive, but it's the purpose of it to enhance our quality of life. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to see us come together, work together, unite together for the sole purpose of uplifting us. And you know, this old saying that I came up in the hood, they say game recognize game, you know. And you know, anytime somebody like yourself and like myself decide to take on the industries that's so huge and so powerful. But you know, I recognize that power because we have, you know, they put on their pants the same way we put on ours. You know, so for you to stand up and take a challenge like that, again, I commend you. And I just want to say those who will hear this because it's going to go out through our system. And I just want to say this: this is just David Murphy speaking, and I do speak for the National Black Unity News and many other entities. This, I just said it earlier. We own less than 1% of the media. Less than one. You know, that's a squeaky voice, but yes, it's still a voice, and it still can be heard. But it can be a powerful voice if we, us, black melanated people, got behind our publications, especially those who mean us. But unfortunately, a lot of our compatriots have sold out. They
Yeah,
just can't.
I wanna ask just you know, when did the gossip when did gossip enter our psyche as news? You know, I remember being I don't know what age, but when the insider or kind of like the gossip columns came after the news,
Uh-huh.
eventually the news started biting some of the gossip, and then in the black the shade room and just the hip hop news. It's like, where are we now? You know, I'm trying, you know, people tell me to do my market research or I follow my, you know, education, you know, how to do a business plan and da 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 da. And I get to looking, it's like, well, what year did we convert
Oh
from real life news to enjoying gossip, and now love and hip hop and all of these things are now news for us? When did this happen? Or
well,
what?
it's the process. What they done is, and it's also called propaganda. And what has happened is slowly but surely. You know, one time, like you just said, news was news. We had people who was not kept by other people. You had general journalists. They would put things in there what they see and would go behind not only what they see, but they had facts behind. They couldn't print it unless they had it was factual.
Okay.
And then these big corporations like Fox News and then CBC. Now you can go on any station right now and have one subject in there. You go to Fox News, the story is totally different. Then you go to other news, and these supposed to be journalists, supposed to report the truth. But what has happened? Sensation, like you say, gossip and things like that. Do you know how many talk shows have came? But they didn't have these type of things. Except for like Jerry Springer was probably one of the first ones who brought this kind of stuff, where they just brought a whole lot of craziness on, and people loved it. People love rumors, and guess what rumors also does? It confuses you because you don't know the truth. You hear from this way. Well, I heard, and you know what? You and I, this is how powerful industry that you and I are entering in has already entered in. You or I can pick any one person. It could be your family member. It could be a president of the United States. It can be any person, and you can put it in your paper and say, "I heard." To a reliable source that this person did this and this person did that, and you could be lying through your teeth, just lying straight out loud. And guess what?
And the other thing I find though, the unique position is I can also tell the truth, the exact truth that I heard, a truth that I could call an ombudsman and tell them I experienced, the truth that I could call the mayor's office and say that it happened, and they'll tell me and have the right to tell me I don't have any substantial evidence to back up what just happened.
Well, like I said, they just like, well, I don't want to.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a unique, what I'm saying is it's a unique place that doesn't require anybody to know but those people who experienced it. That's why I'm bringing it up. You get what I'm saying?
Like I said, I understand. That's why I was just mentioning the power. Even though it's misleading people, you and I could like a slander a person, and they can't even sue us because we said in newspapers, we said we heard it through a reliable source, and we don't have to devour that source who told us.
Right.
But that person would want to kill us or hurt us or something because they know it's a lie. But guess what? The sad part about it is the majority of the people will believe it just because you printed it. And that's how powerful gossip is. This is what hearsay is. And then when you get into these politicians and lawyers, and they would twist your words and say, how can you substantiate the truth? There's only one truth. And they're going to put the burden on you to try to prove it, dot every I and dot every T, even though you got evidence.
Right.
And they will hold you up, but this was on the flip side of it. This is how powerful you are, and I am. Is this because we'll tell the truth. We'll put the truth in the paper and let the people make their own mind up. But at least when they say one thing, now you got opposition saying something else. And then hopefully intelligent people will start doing some research, because if they hear from one side, there ain't no opposition. But when you bring up your point, and then at least you got a fighting chance saying, well, wait a minute, that person have a viable point. Let me look into this thing. And then that's how you break down a giant. That's how you can break down a place like City Hall and state government, just by putting information out that you know to be factual and true, and enlightening the people. Because a lot of people, just like sheep, they'll go along just wherever you say go left, they go left. You tell them go right, they go right. And they just get led to the slaughter sometimes. And people know this. And like you were talking about earlier, you remember you mentioned that you say the way you fighting back, because you mentioned something that we do have something else in common. I'm not a protester either. I use my paper, my pen. And they do say the pen is mightier than the sword, but I'm just saying, but I use that pen to do my protest and do my thing. There's other people, they love doing, they into that, and they will do it. Let them do their thing, and then we have to do our thing. But again, because you're bold enough and strong enough to stand up, it's a powerful, powerful tool that we entered into. But yes, the systems have been in place for generations and generations. They are so good at what they do to mislead us. And the only thing I'm gonna tell you is this: don't ever let nobody sway you or scare you, because there's gonna be a time they want to come after you. They want to come after you because you have a voice, a powerful voice. And because you have a powerful voice, they would deem you sometimes as an enemy. But on the flip side of that same scenario, that same power, another type of power, which is so much stronger than that other power. See, the truth will make you free. And not even on a spiritual tip, when you stand up for others, and when they say it's no greater noble cause when a person stand up for their fellow persons. And that's exactly what you're doing. And so you got all types. If you believe in God, that's one thing. But if you believe in nature, see, there's three laws. There's a God law, there's natural laws, and then there's man's laws. We have to operate in all three of them. But man's laws is pretty shaky. I mean, real shaky. And they make them
Yeah.
up as they go. And so, but the real thing is, you is just as powerful as any person on this earth. The real thing is, I don't, I believe, this is me. This ain't nothing to do with you, but I believe whoever, a person like yourself, it is a thing called, from my perspective, is you're not just because you say I desire to do a newspaper. I don't know, but I believe you are sent because it's a bold undertaking. And God has always raised up people. In every generation you reach throughout history, always raised up certain groups of people to combat those masses of people who call themselves in charge, the kings, the Pharisees, and everything else. There's always be people that God has raised up from the hood or whatever, from the people, and to tell the true story.
Yeah.
And they call them judges, they call them prophets, they call them all kinds of things. But they raised up. And so as a fellow publisher, you're on a great road, a rewarding road. There's going to be some battles up and down, but the benefit of, because the power that you possessing right now can help a business stay afloat. You can help, just like you mentioned those wind things, the wind channels, whatever they call them, just like that, because people did not know. Now all of a sudden, I spent all my money on that beachfront, and now all of these things are flapping all over the place, and nobody told me, and just that because somehow you dug a little deeper.
We will be back after these messages. Welcome back.
To play it back. But then again, for future references, if you know how they operate, then people will be up in the line. You let them know this is how they do. And we had to stop. They got to be more transparent when they do these things.
Yeah.
Like I said, they need to contact people like you. If you deal with the Black community, they need to send you a message. Say, we're going to have a meeting here. That's transparency. So you can alert the people, and then people can voice their opinions. But the way they do it undercover, and any way they can do it and to get whatever they want to do. And see, that's the power of you. So you can change all of that. And people say one person can't change, but yes, you can put a pinhead inside an ocean and you alter that whole ocean. And so, Sean, I'm just saying this, I truly appreciate you and your efforts. And I just want you to know as well, that's why we're doing this, is that you're not by yourself. It's a whole army of us out there who will be rooting you on and will support you. Okay. Because, like I say, it's needed. But another reason why we're doing this is to, like I say, in media, we have to let people know who we are and where we are. And that's, we got a lot of conscious people out here, but if they can't find you, they can't help you. And vice versa, you can be such a force for them as well, because they have vital information as well. How can they get it out if it wasn't for people like me and you?
Right.
Because the internet, I'm gonna tell you, internet, like you say, so much gossip going on in there. You don't know which way. Your head will go crazy. Just listen to all the gossip on that.
Yeah. And then because of doing websites for a number of years, and the search optimization, and then the behavior of people, you could do have all your ducks in a row for a business, but if nobody's finding you or has a way to reference you, do you get what I mean? Like
That's
you
right.
hope that they put an ad and the ad jumps up on your phone, but that's not when you need something. It's having a reference point of a service or a mention of something when you need it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why papers and magazines are still valuable because you don't need it till you need it. You need to be able to pick it up and find what you need versus you know, directories and things. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's easy to use, but it's not. It's still a gap that I think tangible newspapers or tangible publications or that are niche to, what something is about or useful.
Well, and again, that's exactly what we are attempting to do because if we don't share our own stories, tell our own narratives out there, and then we know throughout history what has been done with our stories, our
Mm-hmm.
troops, how they had distorted everything, not only here in the United States but all over this world. And unfortunately, and they'll make laws and statutes and everything else to confirm what they call themselves documenting. But see, then again, today, we can start our own history. This is considered Black History Month today because a person like you and a person like me took a stand and said, I'm going to stand and we're going to tell our story. And because of this technology today, guess what, Seanna? You said you got grandchildren, their children, and their children's children can see this video that we doing now. They can see the work that you have done. They can read the papers that you had done in their time, in real time. They can just go back. This is what my great 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 grandmother did. As a
Yeah,
reference point. It's powerful.
yeah. I ain't think about that.
Yeah, but again, you thought of the most important thing. You thought of something and you did it. You're doing it. And that's the most important thing. As time go on, we don't know what tomorrow going to bring. But like I said, I never knew that I would end up doing what I'm doing now. I knew I started out with a different type of newspaper. I started out with a directory, really. But I didn't know, like you said, once you get on that road, you never know who you're going to run into on the road. And sometimes there's going to be twists and bends in the road. You may think you're going this way, next thing you veer off to the right. then
Absolutely,
then there's
absolutely.
folks in the road. So but it's the journey that matters. It's really the
Yeah,
journey. And you had started on the journey. So that's the most important thing. Just start the journey. And then, like I say, we don't know where we lead, but you got a mission. You got a purpose in life. It's not all about you. You want to help people. You want to share information with people. And you have an outlet for people, like you say, in businesses who are really concerned, social organizations, all types of people can get their message out through you. And
mm,
and like I say again, if we don't tell our own stories or highlight our own story, who will?
right.
And so I commend you greatly again for taking this time with me this morning. And before we shut this thing down, is there anything you want people to know about you, your services, or anything else about the publication, about you personally, what your needs are, anything else? So, the old said, asking it shall be given, knocking the door will be open. So here you go. You got it.
Okay. Not really. I'm sorry, but I'm so knee deep in getting the first issue out. It is the paper is the PAPR paper. It's named the paper because that's how we reference newspapers as a culture, and it's a digital experience and it's also a physical paper. My hope is that it will be distributed to 44 locations here in Cleveland, Ohio. And then I hope to duplicate the same situation in about 8 cities. So when I think about expanding or growing, I'm always thinking about people that I can dialogue with along 8 different topics of importance. They are environmental, their transportation, their housing, wellness, education, politic, and then what's going on right now. Because I am unique, I don't like to flow with what's right now on everybody else's agenda. So let's say if we all talking about apples, I'm gonna talk about oranges, maybe how they affect the apples, but I don't do what other people is doing in anything. So I guess as I expand or grow and tell more people about me, I'm looking for a dialogue about the issues. I'm looking to speak with people like you yourself who are on their own agenda, and I believe in staying in my lane. So as I meet other people, I hope to bring something to their table, and we are able to mutually exchange and check off a box. You get what I'm saying? That we
Yes.
got something done. That's really what I'm about. My background has been in business, and like I said, I spent a number of years doing websites and serving as a webmaster. And technology is always changing, and eventually I came to a time where I started getting slow in some areas. My creativity is still there, but I started to slow down. And with that is where I decided, well, I'm gonna take all of these skills and I'm gonna fold them into what I like to do, which is, speak about important things, kind of drive things home. I'm a great administrator. People that I've worked for behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, they asked me to get something done that they couldn't do or didn't have time to do. I've been real successful with getting things done and going above and beyond. So with that being said, letters have already or always been a success of mine, needing to write a letter, getting something done or grabbing attention through a letter. So I know my writing skills have been with me since I was about 12. And I'm just kind of packaged my digital skills with my digital art skills, with my knack for beautiful things, with something to say. And the newspaper was the best way I could grab all those things. And as I look around, I still get challenged at times to say, well, what makes this more different than what anybody else is doing? How is your voice more different than what anybody else is doing? How will your show or podcast or people that you attract be more different? And I think I challenge myself with my own critical thinking, well, if I go in with a job to get done, I'm not just talking. A million people could be talking. But if each issue I align myself with, if they have an agenda and I can support them in driving their agenda home, and something that improve our quality of life on earth, then I think I can do it. I can, have a year worth of accomplishments or support others and what they're doing, while I'm sure something will unfold, like you said, something that I specifically can grab my teeth into. Right now, I would only say is police brutality. If we can make that illegal, if that could be a reason to vote, in every city across the state, across the world or whatever, that would be worth tomorrow. That would be worth my vote. That would be worth everything. But it's many other issues, we gotta go. That's just one. We have more things at home that we need to take care of, that I'm willing to support and do what I can in my own life and in the life of others about.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I think you already know by now. You just came aboard with us, but you've been on quite a few of the meetings that we share. And we do the newspaper, but it's a lot of little behind the scene things that we do as well. And we do some collaborative things as well. And I'll talk to you there after. Look, we have a conversation about that a little later. But it all is to enhance what you're already doing. Because like I say, by any means necessary, we have to get our message out there, and we have to tell our truths, our narratives, and collectively as well as individually. Like I said, I will always continue to do what I've have done for the last 40 years, but I'm willing to work with others too. So because I do know together we have more power, and so you continue to do you. And also do us too. and when we do that, we just have more strength and more colleagues and more compatriots that will work with us, because it does take a village sometimes to do what we need to get done. And again, I'm so appreciative of you for taking this stand And just so you know, again, you're not standing by yourself. You already got one patriot working with you right now. But as you go forward, just please, reach out, because I'm definitely going to reach out to you, because as I mentioned to you before, my fellow publisher, I'm a visionary myself, and I see things in people. Sometimes they only see in themselves sometimes. And I do believe this about you, and this is a spiritual thing. You take it, wherever you work, that God going to do some great things through you, some powerful things through you. Over the years, you're going to gain so much wisdom and knowledge that's going to turn this not only your town, but this whole country upside down, because of your vision. And all you have to do is stay true to the cause. And once you do that, don't let money sway you, because it's going to come to you. And people try to influence you. You stay true to your cause. That's all you have to do, and keep moving forward, and everything going to work out. And I appreciate you, Seanna, so much for your stand, for what you're doing, what you're about to do. And ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you strongly that support not only the National Black Unity News, but the paper, Seanna, and her efforts, because we need each other. And if we don't do it, who will? If not us, then who? If not now, then when?